Okay. First, I gotta admit, I'm not feeling that great. Maybe it's leftovers from that stomach virus I had a couple weeks ago, or I don't know what. But yeah, I'm not feeling great. Although I did just eat some food. It seems to be okay, so I don't know. Anyway, second, I gotta thank my moderator for doing an amazing job of protecting me from dramas. Oh, you're doing a great job, man. Oh, I'm not even gonna get into it, but yeah, excellent work. And I was thinking about competition. Um, and how, I'm always hearing that competition is what drives innovation and drives progress. Without competition, you don't have all this stuff. It's something that always bothered me about it. And if you go online and type in inspirational speeches, you'll get a lot of like, you gotta outwork the other guy, you gotta beat him, you gotta beat everyone else, compete, you gotta beat everyone, And when I hear that, I'm always like, well, I don't really want to compete with other people. I want to compete with myself. Like, I'm trying to do the best I can do. I don't care what they're doing. They have to do their best. That's their job. I need to do my best. Oh, God, I hope this is not going to be a disconnect every 30 seconds thing again. Mr. Landfill, how's it going, man? I was just saying that I'm very happy with your moderation. It's been quite excellent. Anyway, hopefully this works now. Yeah, it always bothered me, like when there's all these motivational speeches about competition and beating everyone else, when I feel like, for me, I want to compete against myself. Like my job is to do the best I can do, and those other people, I don't need to compete with them. Their job is to do their best. That's their job. And I was thinking about it, like why do we have such a huge emphasis on competition in the Western world, right? And I mean, this was just after like 30 seconds of thinking about it, but I think it's because we don't make anything. Like, we outsourced all our manufacturing jobs to like Mexico, China, India, wherever there's cheap labor. So, we're not actually producing anything. So the only way to get stuff is to fight over what other countries have made and sent to our country. So competition is how you get stuff, right? And that's why it's become such a huge focus in our society, and why you have like people going online talking about how they're amazing because they have expensive cars and they have a big house and they spend lots of money and they just consume. Like, the more a person consumes, supposedly the better a person they are, right? It's like you get all this admiration for consuming a lot, but that's not valuable. That's not useful in the world at all, to just consume things. It's actually kind of pathetic and stupid, Like, it doesn't matter how fancy your car is. Like, what are you contributing to the world? Are you adding any value to the world, or are you just sucking it away? And the more this kind of thing gets rewarded, the more people are just trying to take and compete and take as much as they can. And the more people taking, the less stuff there is, and the fewer people making stuff, the less stuff there is. And you end up with this ridiculous situation where there are people who are taking huge amounts of stuff, and then there are people who are like out on the street trying to scrape by. And it doesn't really make sense. I mean, it makes sense the way it happens. It's just a stupid chain reaction, but it's not what we should be doing, And anytime I say anything about this, I always get a lot of angry feedback. Like, you don't know what you're talking about, Jaimie. All right. But like, say you have 20 different people, and they're all trying to make the best car, and they're all in competition with each other. And you end up with different dudes have cars that are better at different things. But at some point, one of the cars ends up kind of better than all the rest, or maybe they're just marketing is better or whatever. They end up out in front. So now they gain the most market share. They get the most resources. Suddenly, everyone else falls way behind. And now everything is that one car. Everything is that one thing. So, I would say that competition does not drive innovation. It stifles it. There's the same thing with like, the patent system. The patent system has just become a way of owning ideas and not letting other people use it. It's just become a way of competing and hiding ideas instead of cooperating and sharing the ideas, right? So say you had those 20 different people making the cars. Say you went up to them and said, all right, guys, you're no longer in competition with each other. Now you're in cooperation with each other, because that's how our society does things. So work together, make the most amazing car you can, or maybe 2 or 3, because people want options. But like pool your knowledge and your whatever. This guy has amazing brakes. That guy has a super awesome motor. This guy is like super amazing at manufacturing. Put that together, and like everything gets more efficient and better, and there you end up with more stuff than people even need. Like when you have a society that's focused on providing value instead of just consuming it, you end up just with value all over the place. But of course, when you have a society that outsources all the production of value, so that the only thing that's left in your society is competition against other people to get hold of those resources and things that are made in other places, it just causes this terrible chain reaction, and it's kind of ridiculous. And of course, to change it, we would have to completely change our society, like just the way everyone thinks and the way everyone does things. And actually, I think what I'm talking about is a lot of the reason why a lot of people get hooked on the idea of Marxism, of like socialism and communism. But the problem with that is a government can't force it upon people. It doesn't work like that. Like you can't behave morally when someone's holding a gun to your head and making you if you don't have a choice, you can't make a moral choice, right? You have to have it has to be the people. You can't have a government making people do the right thing. You have to have that internal morality, which has completely been stripped from our society. Like people don't like the idea of having morals is just like, why would I have morals? That's not going to make me money. So what? Yeah. Anyway, that's something I was thinking about the other day, and I don't need to go on about it. So let's see what you guys are saying. U.S. capitalism has gone too far. Take a look at housing prices. Yeah, I mean, it's just like the way I think about capitalism is it's just it's too much focus on capital. It's too much focus on money, and I really think that there is no way to fix the problems we have today through any kind of government or social engineering or anything like that. I think the only way to fix it is for people to have morality, and that means encouraging morality in people. And I don't think it would even be that difficult, because people have an internal desire to be moral, good people. Like we have constant propaganda telling people to be greedy and take and all this stuff. And even then you still get people trying to do the right thing, right? I think it would actually be really easy to convince people to start behaving in moral ways and trying to provide value instead of just taking it, instead of just being consumers, like to try to actually produce value. And if we had a culture that just generally encouraged people to produce value, there'd just be value everywhere. Everyone would have more than enough food. There'd be a roof on everyone's head, anyway. Let's see. Let me turn up my brightness a little. Yeah, there. I'm Slarty. Wait, Slarty Barfus B says, I'm currently struggling with this exact problem. I think I may have found a solution to beat my boss's record-setting speed. This makes me competition. Is that a full sentence? Wait. I think I may have found a solution to beat my boss's record-setting speed. That makes me competition. I didn't entirely understand that completely, but good. C. Willis 999 says, haven't seen you for a while. Jaimie, good to see you. You're right, Jaimie, but people don't know how cooperate without greed and need. I think people, I don't think it would be that difficult to convince people to cooperate. I think people want to cooperate, but we've been pushed into this society where we're constantly told to fight for scraps. Like there's so much propaganda. Like if you just, I mean, I can sit here and tell you about it, but it's just try to look for it. Like try to pay attention. Be aware of the information that's coming at you when you watch TV shows, when you're like on the internet or whatever. Like try to be aware of the underlying message that's being sent to you all the time. And once you kind of tune into it, you start seeing everywhere all this propaganda telling people to be greedy and disrespectful to each other and don't cooperate. There's so much propaganda. There's so much reinforcement telling people to be crappy people. Even if you just took that away, I think people would, like, people are generally good, I think people would veer toward a much better state. Like I think there's a lot of propaganda that goes into keeping people greedy. And yeah, how to cooperate with, yeah, it's funny how people don't know how to cooperate. And it's such a basic thing. It's such a basic part of human culture, like throughout history. You got to cooperate with people, or whatever. Like a few years ago, there's this guy who lives not far away, and I see him around, and he'd be like, "Hey, we should be friends." And I'm like, "All right, yeah, we can go fishing or whatever." And one day he comes up to me, and he's like, "Hey, can you help my uncle, set up his solar panels? Because he tried to do it and it's not working right." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I get in his boat. He takes me over to his uncle's place, and I take a look at the wiring, climb up on the roof of his shed. I see this is a disaster. He didn't know what he was doing. So I spent like an hour and a half, rewiring everything, putting it all together. And at the end, everything worked and it was great. And he says, "Okay, how much?" And I'm like, I didn't use any of my own resources. It was just some time. This wasn't difficult for me. And don't worry about it. And just, it's fine. And I'm thinking, this is my friend. This is my friend's uncle. I will help him. Like, this is not difficult for me, right? I can just do this easily because I know how to do it. So I'm happy to share that, But then right after that, and I'd been buying pork, pig from this guy, because he has pigs, and every month or so he'd slaughter a pig, and I'd buy like 10 pounds, 20 pounds, whatever. And then suddenly the price jumped way up. Twice, just for me. And it was because like he took such offense that I didn't charge him anything. Like just the idea that I was just being nice, I was just being cooperative, helpful. It just didn't, his brain didn't process it. And I got to the point where pretty soon I couldn't buy stuff from him. I couldn't buy the pork from him anymore because, I don't know, just the idea that I could do something out of kindness just didn't compute for me, But like, if he just left things the way they were, I would have continued buying pork, and maybe the next time he brought it, he could have just said, you helped me out. This one's whatever, But the way it is now, oh, fine. All right. Anyway, yeah. So now he's gonna have to go to some other guy who's gonna charge him all this money. He's not gonna climb up on the roof and fix everything and blah blah blah. But if he could have just cooperated. See, here's the cool thing about cooperation. Once you get people who are cooperating, if I have something that's not that valuable to me, for instance, electrical knowledge, I can hook up the solar panels and the batteries and the charge controller. It's very easy for me. I understand how the stuff goes. It's very easy for me to do. So I don't have to charge. If we're living in a more cooperative kind of society, I don't have to charge him what I can get out of him, because I don't have to charge him what it would cost to him. I can just charge him what it would cost to me. And in this case, it was like, nothing, don't worry about it. And he has pigs, right? He has plenty of pork. He could sell that to me cheap. And, when you have that kind of cooperative situation, it switches from charging as much as you can get to just charging what you need. And whenever you're good at something, you can do it much more efficiently than other people. You don't have to charge a lot. You don't have to get a huge amount of stuff. And then you get people interacting like this, and then you have a constant situation where people are giving out a lot of value without taking a lot. So I have this electrical knowledge. It was very valuable to that guy. So I could take it over there, and I don't need much in return for that, because it's not that valuable to me, because I already know how to do it. It's a piece of cake. It's easy, but super valuable to him. So in that interaction, there's more value being created, because I've given him something that's very valuable to him, and I've taken something from me that was worth almost nothing. So, and that's the cool thing about having a cooperative culture. You get all these interactions that produce a lot of value at the cost of a little value. Anyway, I hope this doesn't keep disconnecting. Sorry, man. Let's see. Classic dude Mike, I'm still out here, Jaimie. You rock. Thanks, Mike. I hope you're doing good. Hail Dynamic says, I live in Las Vegas, and like any large city, morals are a distant memory. Everyone is perfectly selfish. Yeah, it's sad. It's like, it's kind of pathetic, Like, I have to wonder, when people live like that without any morals at all, like, do they feel like they have any purpose in life, or are they just kind of like stumbling through in the darkness, just trying to get to the next day or whatever? Like without, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have some kind of moral compass. Like, what would even be the point of waking up? Maybe that's why most people need alarms to jerk them out of bed, and they want to sleep till noon, because there's no reason to get out of bed. What's the point? There's no real reason to live, if you don't have morals. If you're just kind of like doing what you have to do to get the stuff so you can, yeah, I don't know. Without morals, I don't get life. I don't get how life is worth it. Like, I don't get the point of life without morals. Let's see. C. Willis says, you spelled your wrong, but we'll let it go. You're better off than us, Jaimie. Well, the U.S. is going downhill fast. People are dropping out of society with drug overdoses now. That sounds terrible. Yeah. Well, this whole thing, like, I've been seeing the decline for a long time. Like, things have been heading down for a long time. That's why I originally moved off grid. Although it's also a really awesome way to live. I don't think I could live like connected to grid power, like in a city or anything like that, because like it is really awesome. This lifestyle, I love it. Like it's so much healthier. But even besides that, yeah, just living in Canada and the United States, I was just seeing this decline happening all around me. And the weird thing is, like, so many people would be like, no, that's not happening. Everything is fine. I'd be like, what are you talking about? Today is way worse than it was a year ago. Oh, well, yeah, but things go up and down. And I'm like, yeah, but they're going down more. Anyway. Joseph Blowmeister is still here too, Jaimie, but my internet connection isn't. Fair H says, I left the US. Screw car-dependent society and $300,000 homes. It's a sad concrete jungle. Yeah, car dependency. It's when I lived in Vermont, I really wanted to bike places and run places, but the roads were like there'd be like this much shoulder on the road, like not enough space to not die when cars go flying by at 50 miles an hour around curvy mountain roads. Yeah, it's that's something I always thought was kind of silly. And this is one of the things where competition has driven that. So cars won the competition over bikes and walking. So that means everything is roads. So you have to take a car. And if you don't take a car, you're risking your life. And I've done a lot of biking in the past, on dangerous roads. And eventually I just got to the point where I was like, it's just too dangerous. Like I'm going to end up dying riding it, like just trying to ride my bike somewhere, It's conditioning the population, Dave the Rave says. Yeah, there's so much conditioning constantly all the time. And one of the things I try to do to try to make myself just feel generally better and think more straight and clear my head is like 90% of the time my internet's turned off here. So I have nothing coming in from the outside world. I have a walkie-talkie to talk with neighbors, if anyone has any problem, but other than that, no internet, nothing. And when I'm doing that, I always feel better. Like I can think more clearly. Things just make more sense. It's like just going on the internet and spending an hour. It can really just, it just starts pushing your brain in directions, Propaganda, ego, and fear drives a lot of folks' motivation. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, one of the big pieces of morality that I think is important that's become lost is bravery. So few people are standing up for what they believe in, what they think is right. Because I do talk to people now and then who have ideas of what they think is right, but talking to someone who actually like puts effort into fighting for what they think is right, that's a really rare thing. Ken, what's up, man? Hey, just wanted to let you know my 100-year-old washing machine has a tag on the motor, so I ordered a new one just in case I can't get the old one to work. Oh, that's awesome, man. You can still get the motor? That's great. That's really cool, man. I bet that thing's going to last forever. Slarty Barfus says, you missed the second half of my comment. I would rather not compete with my boss, but cooperate instead. Yes. However, if I can beat his record, then why give him the solution? Yeah, it's funny. Like often competition ends up having all this karma that comes back and gets you later, But cooperation ends up with all this positive karma. And, we live in a disposable society now where people think about like minutes ahead, not hours or days or years. So it's all kind of funny. Dave the Ray says it's all about money. Yeah, it has kind of become too much about money. My father-in-law, Ken says, my father-in-law is like that. He doesn't like getting free anything from me. And it's this way of staying even. It's different for you, but he's Hispanic and he's not as handy as me. Yeah, the guy I was helping with the electrical stuff, he's Hispanic too. But yeah, this whole idea that you always have to like keep things even is, I don't know. I just think it's one of the unfortunate pieces of modern civilization that we shouldn't have developed, is the idea of always having every transaction be even. Because when you have transactions that are uneven, you end up like that. That's what friendship is about. Like that's the whole point of friendship. That's how you get relationships with people that are good. Like when you have a person in your life where you know that anytime you see them, they're not going to take more from you than they give, and chances are most of the time they give you more than they take. And you also do that for them because you have this cooperative kind of interaction where you have something that's not that valuable to you, but you can give it to them and it's more valuable to them. When you have that kind of cooperation happening all the time, you just develop a really good relationship with that person, and you want to see them because you can make them happy easily, and they can give you stuff that makes you happy, and helps you out, and you both end up with mutually beneficial interactions. And yeah, that's something that's totally been lost. Now it's all about, making sure that any interaction is as difficult for you as it is for me, or is as difficult for you as it would be if you did it yourself, instead of, cooperation, where it's like, I can do that more easily than you, so let me do it, and it, charge you way less than it would cost you to do it yourself, kind of thing. Anyway, frozen back. Yeah, I don't know. I hope the internet keeps working all right now. I give my neighbor rides from work home. She is very old and works at Dunkin' Donuts. Oh, does she get you donuts sometimes? Man, I've not been to a Dunkin' Donuts in quite some time. And I don't mean to promote, flour and sugar products that fry. They're not the best thing for you, but I have eaten a lot of donuts in my life. When I used to run track and field, I would train so hard that it was hard to keep up with the amount of food I needed to eat. So every once in a while, I would just go to when I was at school, there was a Dunkin' Donuts on Thayer Street. Anyway, I'd go in there and get a dozen donuts, and I would go in there, buy the dozen donuts, go outside, and I would just eat the whole thing right there. And one time, I ate the whole dozen donuts, and I went for a second dozen donuts, and I ate 2 dozen donuts all at once. It was crazy, but I was just so hungry from training, And there was this cool grocery store that was near me in Vermont. And when I was in Vermont, first living off grid, I worked really, really hard to build my house and, do all the stuff there. And I would definitely get behind on calories. And this grocery store, I don't know why exactly, but they had, this section with the donuts, and down at the bottom, there were always these mutant giant donuts. As if the donut person would get toward the end and they're like, I just want to make this go faster. Let's just make some giant donuts so it goes fast and then I can be done, or something. I don't know, but there were always these giant mutant donuts. And I would go there and I would buy a dozen of these giant mutant donuts and I would eat the whole thing. Oh, it's not, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you're like really starved of calories, oh, it's amazing. Anyway, yeah, that's cool that you get, and this is giving your neighbor a ride from work home is one of those perfect examples where you can do something that doesn't cost you much, because I'm presuming it's your neighbor, so you're going back near their house anyway. You already have the car, you're already making these trips. To add a person doesn't really cost much. Maybe you go a little bit out of your way, but it's super valuable to that person, because they wouldn't have a ride otherwise. They'd have to figure out a bus or get a car or something. But so you get to provide something that's really valuable to the other person at a very low cost to you. And that's the whole cooperation thing. That's what it's all about. And that's what's missing in our society, one of many things. Wendy says, making the deal for $90 of good pork, $9 for 10 pounds. Wow. Would have let his uncle know he wasn't doing anything untalked about for your labor. Oh man, it is not $9 a pound. Yeah, that's way too expensive. I mean, maybe where you live, but here meat is generally like $2 a pound ish, give or take, depending on what you're getting and where you're getting it and blah blah blah. But yeah, $2 a pound. I just bought a bunch of pork. Yeah, it was pig from some guys. I don't even know where these guys live, but somewhere around here. But every few weeks or month or whatever, I'll get a WhatsApp message. Hey, we got, pork or beef or whatever, how much you want. And then they just show up in their boat with like this just vat of meat and they weigh it out. So yeah, I just bought 10 pounds of pork for $20. And it's in my freezer right now. I like the concept of pay it forward. Yeah, and if just imagine if that was the normal thing. Like if that was the normal thing to do, And again, like no type of government or social engineering would make this happen. It's something that people have to take on themselves. Although, you know what? I think you could socially engineer it, but you'd have to basically do it in a way that you're maximizing people's freedom. Because, you know, right now there's a lot of propaganda telling people what to do. You basically have to stop telling people what to do and just encourage morality and positive behavior and all that. But I think, you know, people would start doing it naturally, because I do think that is a natural part of our instincts, you know, to cooperate and be social creatures. Which is why people are so frustrated when they're isolated in a society like we have today, where everyone's competing. People are miserable because they're always competing with other people, so they're always isolated, and it's frustrating. You know, it's like people are made to cooperate and work with other people. Ken says, I really try to not take his money, but I've learned to just take it. It's not like I don't need the money, but I say thanks and make sure he knows it's not about getting money from him. Yeah, I mean, if someone insists on paying, just, yeah, there's not really anything else you do. Just take it and say thank you. Make sure he knows you appreciate it. Yeah. The issue with cooperation, Slarty Barfist B says, the issue with cooperation is, in my case, if I give my boss the solution, am I now disposable, or would he see me as indispensable? Yeah, I've had that situation before, where you're in the situation where you have the answer that your boss is looking for. But you're also aware, and I don't know what your situation is, but it sounds like you might be in this situation, but you may be aware that if you give them the answer, they're going to feel challenged. And you may get fired for cooperating, being helpful, because they're going to feel threatened, you know, and that's if the person is stuck in a competition mindset where they can't conceive of the idea that you could work together to make everything better. If they think it has to be a competition and you give them something that's helpful, yeah, they may just see it as a threat. There's a threat to their dominance. And yeah. But hopefully, I mean, yeah, you would hope that we could have a society where if you bring the good ideas, you are seen as indispensable. But, you know, we're not. I miss the young athletic appetite. If I eat a Boston cream, I can feel it the entire... Oh, Boston cream. Oh, man. Yeah. You know, if you can still have the young athletic appetite. I'm 49 and I'm very active. And I eat like I don't know, like some kind of pig. I'm just like, I often, most days I do like 2 hours of digging, which is like, you know, breaking up dirt, shoveling it in a wheelbarrow, taking it somewhere, dumping it, spreading it out. I'll do that for like 2 hours. And by the end of that, I am just ready to eat like everything. But I often, you know, kind of skip lunch, maybe do some snacks or whatever, just to get me through to dinner, so I can do more work, so I don't have to stop and, you know, make some food. But then by the time I get to dinner, I'm just eating until I'm bloated, and then I just like splat somewhere and go into a food coma. It's amazing. Where are we? Giant mutant donuts, man. Those giant mutant donuts, the bear claws. They were like this big, like huge. Ever miss the dome? The dome in Vermont? No, not really. When I sold the dome in Vermont, I just consciously left it behind. You know, I sold it to someone else, and I was like, well, I'm not coming back here, so this is theirs. Now I'm looking forward. And now I have this awesome place. And I could fit, so my dome in Vermont, I think I could fit about 5 of them inside this house. This house is huge. It's kind of deceptively huge, actually. It's hard to tell how far that other wall is way over there. But it's 41 feet from front door to back door, and it's round, and it's also 4 stories tall. The dome in Vermont was like 3 stories, but then there was a little room on top for a little 4th story room. But yeah, the floors in here are taller. Yeah, this place is huge. I mean, not that size is everything, but it is pretty awesome. And I have stuff here that I dreamed about having when I was in Vermont. Like, I remember being in Vermont when I built a lumber mill. Like, it was an electric lumber mill, and I had a generator, so I'd run the generator to run the electric lumber mill. And I would always think, man, if I could just get enough solar panels to run a lumber mill, you know how amazing that would be? Like, I could cut wood using 0 resources. Like, I could just spend all day cutting wood using no fuel, nothing, just like from the sun. Oh my God. And I have it. It's like right up on the hill. I also have a big industrial planer up there that also runs on solar power. Like, there are so many things I have here that I dreamed about before. So yeah, I don't really, for multiple reasons, I don't really miss the dome. I guess I don't really think about it much. I love having vehicles that I built myself, which is much easier to do if you're on the ocean than if you're on land. Because, you know, if you're on land, this again is a product of competition, but, you know, if you're on land, you can't just build your own car and drive around. You're thrown in jail, or your car gets impounded or whatever. But here I can build my own boats and drive them around. And they're all solar powered. I don't need gas for them. Yeah, there's so many things I have here that I used to dream about. I don't miss the dome. Oh, there is one thing: spring water. The spring water at the dome. Ah, that was the best water I ever had. That was amazing water. Here I have rainwater, which is fine, but yeah, it's not as good as the spring water. Joseph Blomeister says, question: how did you waterproof the outer skin of the Vermont dome? The outer skin of the Vermont dome, it was just painted. Yeah, it was wood, plywood, and then painted. Well, the windows weren't, but and then the roof was sheet metal, like roofing metal. And that the roof was most of what made it waterproof, because, you know, the roof like overhung the walls by a fair amount, if I remember right. I haven't been there in a while, so water didn't really hit the walls. But yeah, they were painted. There was a woodpecker put a hole in one of the walls once. I plugged it with spray foam. Hi. Oh, Phil says, hi, I'm late to the live stream. As usual, hope everyone have a great day. I hope everyone have a great day too. Phil says, 2 weeks ago, I started to switch my battery tools from Ryobi to DeWalt. Really? Because I've been thinking about changing mine. Random question. Do you happy with your DeWalt tools, and what other tools you would also wanted to have? I don't know. The DeWalt tools are all right. I find the drill chucks to not be very good. And I replaced one of the drill chucks that totally broke with an old rigid one, which is much better. Although I've been told that the new rigid stuff also is not that good. And the new Milwaukee stuff, like I've been told, like all that battery powered tool stuff is just going down in quality across the board. If anyone has any recommendations, because I'm starting to get to the point where I'm having batteries fail with my DeWalt stuff. And I also have several tools that are dying, you know, that I'm kind of patching together. Like one of my drills, it's got zip ties holding the top together. And, you know, I've got one circular saw still functioning that I repaired recently. It's functioning for the moment, but I'm kind of getting to the point where I might switch to another brand if I can find one that's kind of more reliable, like more durable. So if anyone has any recommendations on that, I would be interested to hear for sure. Yeah, so I've not found the DeWalt stuff to be particularly great. It's okay. Like it's you know, I've gotten a reasonable amount of use out of it, but you know, I want the stuff to last longer. Still looking forward to underwater spearfishing video. Do you eat pork? You eat more pork than fish? Is fishing not as plentiful by you? I do eat more pork than fish, but it just depends on how often I go fishing. I haven't been going fishing for various reasons. Like 2 months ago, the ocean was kind of gross for a couple weeks. I don't know what happened. There was something, I don't know. Someone said something about some warm front and the ocean got warm and there was some rain and a couple things combined. The ocean got kind of gross for a while. So I wasn't swimming. And then, I got this stomach virus a couple weeks ago, and yeah, I haven't been swimming much. But yeah, when I do swim more, I go spearfishing. I just haven't been doing it. I can also fish with a hook and everything. But yeah, I've just been busy working on floors and digging and I don't know, building things. Also planting, working on my land. I've been working on my land a lot. Yeah, getting food plants going and stuff like that. I don't know. This just comes back to like, I'm the only one here doing all the stuff, and I have 4 kids, and they're starting to get more useful. When I had that stomach virus a couple weeks ago, I was basically on the floor all day, and I just said to my oldest daughter, "Hey, can you make dinner?" And she's like, "Yeah." So she goes outside, makes a fire in the little fire stove, does it all herself, like gets all the stuff out. And I don't have meals ready to go kind of thing. Like I have ingredients. Like there's nothing you can just like pick up and eat. Like you got to cook everything. So she made dinner like all from scratch. She was really good about that. And, my kids help dating and stuff. But for the most part, like I'm responsible for everything. I don't have like another adult here to kind of help with things. So I just have to pick which things I can do, and I do those, and I don't have enough of me to do all the stuff I want to do. If I did, I would fish. I would go fishing like every day and do a lot of other things. But, when you live off grid like this, it really kind of highlights how valuable it is to have a partner, like a spouse kind of partner. Because there's so many times when I'm like, we could cut out so much work if I had another person here who could just take care of this thing that's not difficult to do, but it's going to take like 2 hours to do. Someone else could do that while I do the difficult thing or whatever, Anyway, I wish I could buy you a dozen Big Macs and fries, but I can't. I don't even know where the nearest McDonald's is. I haven't eaten at a McDonald's in ages. Yeah, I was never big into McDonald's anyway. If I had the choice, I'd go for Burger King. I remember at one point they had the 99-cent Whoppers when I was in Florida for a track and field thing. I was in Florida for a week, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money, and there was a Burger King across the street, and I ate mostly 99-cent Whoppers. There was also an all-you-can-eat breakfast at the hotel, which I what's the word? I violated. I abused. I may have slightly abused it. Anyway, how old are the kids now? I remember watching the video of you bringing your boy home on the boat. Oh gosh, yeah. Oh, I remember when I first saw him. That was so cute. He's 6 now. So my youngest is, I'm pretty sure this is all right. 4, 6 is the only boy, and then 12 and 13 are the other 3 are girls. 4, 6, 12, 13, and they're awesome. Oh my God, I love having kids. Kids are amazing. I don't get how you could not want to have kids. I mean, I can understand it, but like, yeah, having kids is awesome. It adds so much to your life, like things you wouldn't even think about. Like I couldn't explain what it is to have 4 amazing kids in your house to someone who doesn't have any kids, because they'd just be like, what are you talking about? What's so amazing about that? Like it's just like they're expensive and messy and blah, blah, blah. It's like no. If you have the kids and you actually put the effort into being a parent, I mean, it's built into our DNA for that to be rewarding. Because if it wasn't, the species would be gone. Like having kids is a huge part of being a human being. John says, I had to bail out dead DeWalt guy today with, I had to bail out dead DeWalt guy today with Makita. So you had a dead DeWalt tool and you used a Makita to save it. I want to know if there is a brand today of these cordless tools that is made to be durable. Because like I was saying, the DeWalt stuff is all right. Like it definitely works, but it's not that durable. The drill chucks are terrible. And oh God, they're so bad. And then, yeah, just other things like just the durability. And I'm pretty gentle with them, but I do use them a lot. And yeah, they just kind of wear out and break. And then, you know, I'll repair them and to reattach parts with zip ties and stuff and kind of keep them going. But I remember many years ago, I had a Milwaukee drill, just like a hand drill. And this is when I was building the dome in Vermont. And I dropped that thing from 3 stories up onto the concrete. And I was just like, oh no. But I went down there, totally still worked. It looked like it didn't even fall. Like it was perfect condition. So, but I've also been told that the Milwaukee stuff is also not as durable as it used to be. So, John Doe says, "I want a castle." Then build one, man. If you're serious about that statement, if you really want a castle, you should totally build it. Like if you don't have the motivation to build it, then you don't really mean it. You know, like if you really want a castle, you can build it, man. Ken says, would you consider selling a wind-up fan? I'd pay for shipping and whatever you think is reasonable. $50? I don't even know how to ship it. Kind of the point of doing it was to give out the 3D printer plan so other people could make them. But I mean, I wouldn't be totally opposed to making one. But like the spring is kind of expensive because if I was going to make one now, I'd have to buy a brand new, what's it called? Tape measure to get the spring out of it because I don't have any more broken tape measures. I don't know. Let me think about it. That was Ken, right? Yeah, I don't know. Let me think about it. Oh, John says, I want a solar-powered ATV golf cart. Then make it, man. Or get a golf cart and put the solar panels on it. You can do it, man. If you really want to do that stuff. Build yourself a castle with some solar-powered vehicles. Totally cool. Earthkeeper says, I remember the giant spider and the Kwanzaa hut build. Yes, I remember that stuff. The banana building, exactly. Yeah, that was some cool stuff. Hey, don't you. All right, where was I? Mr. Landfill says, DeWalt has an adapter that lets you use the new 20-volt batteries with the 18-volt. Huh. So like the old tools. That's kind of cool. I heard the Milwaukee is a tiny bit more reliable than DeWalt, but it also depends on which tool line you're using. There's more basic tools and there's professional ones, right? Yeah. See, and if we were in a cooperative society, they would just want to make the best possible thing because it wouldn't be motivated by competition and making more money than the other guy. We'd be motivated by just trying to do the best all the time of everything. Totally, it would just be a totally different society, though. You know. Wendy says, I'd be very surprised if a Black & Decker or a Skill at a fraction of the price seems to have similar quality as the more professional brands. Yeah. And Mr. Landfill, both 20-volt and 18-volt batteries have the same voltage. In US, they sell it as 20 volts, and in Europe, it's 18. Yeah, it is totally just the same batteries. But, you charge them up to 20 volts. So they're like, ooh, we can say it's more. Kind of like a 12-volt lead-acid battery. You charge up to like 15 volts. But no one's trying to market them as 15-volt batteries. Earthkeeper says, I have a variety of brands, but I would say Makita is a step above. Makita, eh? I see. So out of all the ones you have, McKee is the best. I'm gonna have to look into that. C. Willis says, you're the real deal. Everybody wants to go off grid. You actually did it. Dude, there are a lot of people off grid. A lot of people don't talk about it though. And having done this YouTube channel for many years, I totally get why. Because I get a lot of hate mail. I wouldn't say a lot of hate mail because I don't have that, big a channel. I don't get that many. But, I get some pushback on just living off grid, like you're living like a bum, you're homeless. That's what I really don't understand at all. It's funny to hear that I'm homeless because like I own a home, and this is coming from people like living in their mom's basement or people renting. Like if you rent, or people who have a mortgage who don't own their home yet, the bank owns it. But like I literally own my own home. But there's kind of a weird thing against living off grid. There's a stigma against it for a lot of people, and people can get pretty nasty and rude about it. I've heard it enough times. It just kind of goes in one ear and out the other. I don't care anymore, but I totally understand why a lot of people just kind of keep to themselves about it. And there have been other YouTube channels of people doing off-grid stuff being really badly harassed. Someone told me about one a while ago, and I looked them up, and man, they got really harassed by a lot of people. It was annoying, basically just because they were living off grid, And I guess people were jealous or something. I don't know. Mr. Landfill says, I think they're $27 Whoppers now. Shut up. How much does a Whopper actually cost now? Everything's going up. That's too much though. You're joking, right? The funny thing is, I'm not totally sure if you're joking. I'm pretty sure you're joking, but I've heard inflation is getting out of control up there. Ken says, just get you a Thai Philippine woman. They're loyal and loving and hardworking. Many of them are used to similar conditions as you and know how to farm and such. Oh man, if I met a girl who knew how to farm, oh, that would be amazing. Because I'm learning how to farm, but I still have a lot to learn. And I'm doing a lot of trial and error and screwing up and blah, blah, blah. I'm getting somewhere though. Oh, you little bugger. Yeah, apparently the internet's not being very good today. Anyway, as I was saying, I kind of presume I'm doing some kind of permaculture techniques, probably. I don't use any pesticides, and I'm trying to grow stuff. So I think probably, but I don't really know. I compost, does that count? Let's see. The closest McDonald's to you is 53 kilometers in a straight line near Changanola, where airport is. Ah, yes, the Changanola airport has a McDonald's. Yeah, I don't need it. I have a 3D. Oh, Ken says, I have a 3D printer, but it's not working very well as my old one. Go figure. My old one worked great for years, and my new one sucks day one. I'll email you if you like. Yes, Ken, email me. But man, it would be great if you could 3D print one and let me know if it worked, if you got it to work. Because I don't know if anyone has built one of the fans and gotten it to work. I've built like 5 of them, and they all work. But yeah, I would like to hear someone else say, yeah, I printed one out, I put it together, and it totally works, man. Mr. Landfill says, joking. Oh, okay, about the $27 Whoppers. Reed says a McDonald's meal deal coupon is $8.79 Canadian now. Yeah, I don't even know what a meal deal coupon is. I'm presuming that $2. Oh man, I was saying earlier, I'm not feeling that great. Yeah, I'm having some serious burps right now. Anyway. I'm presuming that, $2 for beef or pork per pound is not what it is up north anymore. That's what I get meat for here, like $2 a pound, generally speaking. Oh, look, I'm at the end of comments. Am I at the end of comments or are they just not low? Yep, I'm at the end of comments. So does anybody know how much a Whopper actually costs? I wonder how close the nearest Burger King is. I'm not going to Burger King. Great deal for meat by you. Yes. And it's been like the meat I buy. I mean, I also get meat from the store sometimes, but most of the meat I get is from like the community around here. It's generally been killed like that day. Like they slaughter an animal early in the morning and, butcher it, put some in their freezer, sell it to, people in their little community. And then they just go out in their boat and deliver it to all the people who said they want some. Classic Dude Mike says, I've been studying the Rosecrans. Very kick-ass philosophy. The Rosecrans. I have no idea what that is. Two $5 Whopper Jr. All right. Why does this keep disconnecting? What's going on? I gotta talk to the internet guy. See what's going on. Bacon, double cheese, extra large meal, $11.29. Dude, that's like my food bill for like a week. Yeah. Although, I mean, I cook at home. I don't eat at restaurants generally. Cooking at home is like way cheaper. Earthkeeper, I would think that you are implementing permaculture techniques, even though it is a system that interacts with itself like a food forest. Yeah, I'm making a food forest, man. Wendy says, fast food is getting really bad. It's getting really bad? Delivery is now the thing in the USA, so tech food to stay warm is ruining it. Yeah, I just like to cook myself, not cook myself, but cook for myself and for my family. Like, I heard someone online, like this YouTube clip, a guy saying that cooking is the biggest waste of time because you don't make any money doing it. It's like you could spend that time making money instead of cooking for yourself. Yeah, but if I cook for myself, I'm saving money, and I know what's going into the food. And like I've said this a million times, like pretty much anything you cook at home is going to be more healthy than pretty much anything you get at a restaurant. And if you're actually kind of conscious about it, like you don't cook with cooking oil. Like I have a thing of cooking oil down there that I haven't used in months. This is coconut oil. I bought it about a year ago, and still some in there. And just if you just pay attention to what you're doing, use simple ingredients, don't do stupid things. Like you can make yourself really good food, even in the society of terrible food and obesity and all this stuff. You cook for yourself. You can get around all that crap. Especially if you grow some of your own food yourself, because all that factory farmed grown stuff, it's all being grown in like depleted soil and there's not enough nutrients in it. But grow some of your own stuff, and it's so much better. Ken says the burger has shrunk to about half the size it used to be. No, I remember when Whoppers were 99 cents. Yeah, that was like 30 years ago. No, not that long ago. When was I at university? I don't know, almost 30 years ago. All right. I think I'm going to get out of here in a minute and go eat some bland meat and some popcorn, because I feel like, I haven't been feeling that great yesterday, but I feel like I can eat that stuff and be okay. But yeah, I'm going to go eat that in a minute. Ken says, I currently have a small orchard, going every year. I plant 2 new trees. Speaking of which, have you tried air layering? It would work great by you, air layering. I don't know what that is. I guess I have not tried it. Air layering, I'll look it up. All right, I'm going to get out of here. If anyone has any last minute comments or anything, let me know, or I'm going to go eat. Good to see you, Jaimie. Earthkeeper, good to see you too, man. And again, I gotta thank Mr. Land Filbert for being an amazing moderator, keeping the wokesters at bay. Hope you feel better, Jaimie. Take care. I hope I do too. I don't know. I've been doing pretty good. Just, I don't know. Something hit me yesterday. Maybe I ate something bad. I don't know what happened. Have a good evening, Wendy. And all right, I am getting out of here. Everyone have an excellent morning or afternoon or whatever. Cloning a tree with a branch is air layering. Cloning a tree with a branch. I do that. I totally do that. Yeah. I totally plant things out of a branch. Yeah, okay. I'm getting out of here. Everyone have a great morning and stuff.